I think I just found a way to get Kohberger out of jail. Big shout out to everyone watching this Jrod on Point. I'm taking a look to all videos, all press conference from Pennsylvania when Bryan Kohberger got arrested. I think I found a legal loophole that Ann Taylor could utilize to get Kohberger out. Because we already know all this fabrication of this case and the way they present it to the court and the way they present it to the public is very secretive. Is really not much trust from the community. Um, and I was taking a look at those videos from all press conference like from a year ago. Again, I wanted to go to the website of extraditions and how the a whole extradition situation went down because I believe that not a lot of people's talking about the extradition side of things. I think I have spoken with Speak Van Holden a little bit about it. Um, Speak Van Holden mentioned that that's one of the reasons why he believed Kohberger is guilty because he skipped the extradition process, and that was suspicious. At that moment when I had that conversation with him and the brainstorm and the conference, I did agree with him. Like it was very fishy, in particular in the way Kohberger skipped the extradition process, which I think in this press conference we're gonna have a clear view of what could be the reason for it. And also I want to share with you a legal loophole that I believe that Ann Taylor could utilize right away to get Kohberger out. So without further ado, let's listen to the state of Pennsylvania and the press conference because I think it's a lot of details that people has missed. Let's take a look at that and see what can we found. Because if I'm not mistaken, Pennsylvania was supposed to stop the bus, and due to Idaho was not sharing the information about the probable cause, I believe that the state of Pennsylvania dropped the ball in ensuring the rights of its resident. Because Bryan Kohberger is a resident of Pennsylvania. He's temporarily living in Idaho due to his school and now due to jail, but he's an original resident of Pennsylvania. So I think that loophole, and also the fact that in this press conference we will hear that the state of Pennsylvania really went kind of like halfway blind. They went by face value and like trusting the findings of Idaho. Because again, it seems that this individual that we're gonna see pretty soon on the video, he said that he went over the the paperwork, but it seems that no one was allowed to see what was in the paperwork, and Pennsylvania had to go by trusting the FBI and trusting Moscow and their findings and what they brought to court. So without further ado, let's take a little peek. Bear with me, it's gonna be a little long. I just want to come chill with y'all and just share a real quick video. Um, my findings because I think I own it to y'all. It's been a while and it's time to get back to work. So let's listen.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lieutenant Adam Reed. I'm the Director of the Communications Office with the Pennsylvania State Police. Thank you for joining us here. The order of speakers is going to be our Pennsylvania State Police Commissioner, Colonel Robert Ivanchik, Major Christopher Paris, he's our Area 3 Commander, and First Assistant District Attorney, Monroe County, Mike Mancuso. After the speakers have finished, we will then take a handful of questions. Colonel Ivanchik.
Good afternoon. I'm Colonel Robert Ivanchik, Commissioner of the Pennsylvania State Police. While I monitored the investigation into the horrific murders of the University of Idaho students, I did not imagine the investigation would lead to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. My heart goes out to the families of the victims, their friends, the community of Moscow, and the University of Idaho. No words can heal the pain associated with the loss of a child. Their young lives were ended far too soon. In law enforcement, we understand the best thing we can do for victims and their families is to follow every lead, collect every piece of evidence, and bring those responsible to justice. I am proud of the members of the Pennsylvania State Police who were able to help in this investigation. The cooperative relationship between our local, state, and federal partners stands the test of time. The officers, troopers, and federal agents work together tirelessly, putting in long, difficult hours. Communication and cooperation are imperative to success and to ensure the integrity of the case remains maintained. The culmination of that cooperation ultimately led to take the suspect into custody and afforded the families some sense of peace they deserve. I want to thank the Moscow Police Department, the Idaho State Police, and our partners in the Federal Bureau of Investigation for their support, assistance, and coordination. I also want to recognize the Monroe County District Attorney's Office. And finally, I need to acknowledge the members of the Pennsylvania State Police, specifically members of Troop N, our Bureau of Criminal Investigation, and our Bureau of Emergency and Special Operations, who assisted in safely taking the suspect into custody in the early morning hours of December 30th. As previously indicated by Chief James Fry of the Moscow Police Department, specific details regarding this investigation cannot be released until the suspect is extradited to Idaho and presented with the probable cause affidavit.
That's very important to listen to. Very, very important to listen to. So that means that Idaho did not share the probable cause, not even with Pennsylvania. The problem that I see is how Pennsylvania is going to get an arrest warrant in Pennsylvania with no information about the probable cause of Idaho. It seems that the state of Pennsylvania requested an arrest warrant in Pennsylvania with no information. A blind arrest warrant, legal loophole. How can you inquire a warrant for an arrest with no information? That's very important. Because he's a resident of Pennsylvania, he's not a resident of Idaho. So at this moment, it's up to the state of Pennsylvania to double check and make sure and ensure that all law applicable to this situation is handled in a proper way. In the same way they mentioned handle this without benefit of the doubt, it seems that that benefit of the doubt was given without no type of information. So they went by face value, they went by whatever FBI, because it seems the FBI was the ones that reach out to Pennsylvania to get all this situation going on. In no moment the U.S. Marshals was mentioned in this whole press conference, which we all know that the U.S. Marshals are the one that's supposed to handle situations like that. Let's pay attention and listen.
At this time, I will turn the microphone over to Major Christopher Paris, commander of Area 3, who was involved in the coordinated efforts to take the suspect into custody.
Very important.
Thank you, Colonel. Area 3 comprises troops F, P, N, and R, and is made up of 1,000 approximately of the women and men, civilian and enlisted, in the northeastern part of Pennsylvania. I'd like to introduce to my left Captain Norm Kramer, who's the commander of Troop N Hazleton, which is comprised of Carbon, Monroe, Columbia, and parts of Luzerne counties. I would like to reiterate, as the colonel said, that Idaho law prohibits any release of information contained within the affidavits. So we're going to do our best today to talk about what phase we are currently in the investigation. And it has entered a new phase with the waiver for extradition. And the continuing primary goal is the seeking of justice through successful prosecution and conviction, bearing the burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. So with that in mind, we're trying to balance essentially two things: the public's desire for information against the need to maintain the integrity of the investigation and protect the suspects, accused at this point's due process. So I'll now attempt to give you an operational picture with the best information I can release at the time. So this begins when the Pennsylvania State Police Bureau of Criminal Investigation troopers were contacted by the FBI about assisting with surveillance of the accused in this case.
So the FBI contacted Pennsylvania. The FBI. The same people that told Moscow PD do not use the IGG. They just said right here that the FBI was the ones that reached out to them, not the U.S. Marshals. But is it Moscow PD and Bill Thompson and the University of Idaho like asking for favors from the FBI? Because again, it's like the FBI was not the lead investigators in this case, and their assistants, the key assistants from the FBI, was the same thing that the FBI told Moscow PD do not do. Do not use the IGG. So then if the FBI told Moscow PD to not use the IGG, what else they had in that probable cause affidavit? It could have even involved Kohberger with any kind of connection, because it's very simplistic when in this press conference they made an emphasis on connection between the alleged suspect and the victims. And in the same breath, Aunt Taylor said there is no connection within the affidavit of probable cause. So if this information was not shared with Pennsylvania at all whatsoever, because he was on the seal and they needed to trust in the same way Moscow PD told the whole world, trust us in this. They told Pennsylvania to trust us. Pennsylvania somehow got it, because again, we need to take a look at the people that is taking these decisions. We need to pay attention to the people that is taking these decisions. Who authorized the warrant for an arrest in Pennsylvania? We know so whatsoever type of information because he's on the seal. And then also, I believe that they skip a step with the governor's counselor. That it was a whole process what was supposed to take place for the extradition to occur legally. Also, if this step was skipped, if this is the loophole, they could be used to make that arrest warrant illegal. Because I believe a lot of people is worrying about what's going on in Idaho, but at the same time, in the same breath, I believe that people should worry about what happened in Pennsylvania. Who advised Kohberger to skip the whole extradition process? Because again, I believe they even told Kohberger to believe, like, well, if you ain't guilty, we'll get you out the way real quick. We make sure that if you're innocent, you're innocent, and we get you out and about in no time. That was a miss of counsel. Whoever told Kohberger to skip his extradition process, I believe that is his fault. And Kohberger is his fault in believing them. I'm gonna show you in a little bit the step that the state of Pennsylvania skipped. It's gonna be very interesting. Bear with me. It might be a little long video, but I think you're gonna find it very, very, very interesting.
I'd like to take the opportunity to specifically thank several individuals. Special Agent in Charge Jackie McGuire and Assistant Special Agent in Charge Dave Carter from the Philadelphia Field Division, as well as Supervisory Special Agent Bill Vigorito of the Scranton RA. We're very lucky in PSP to have a collaborative relationship with the Bureau, both in Pennsylvania and beyond, and their people are absolutely excellent. So as the investigation progressed, Troop N Criminal Investigation Section, commanded by Captain Kramer over my left shoulder here, began to collaborate with authorities in Idaho. Specifically, I'd like to acknowledge Lieutenant James Curto, who is here today, Sergeant Anthony Ferdinand, Corporal John Chulak, who is not present with us, and Troopers Leary and Knoll, who are here with us today. It was through this collaboration.
You know, they mentioning so many names, but they're not mentioning the name. Again, this is the official website. They're not mentioning none of these names. And Jennifer Selber, General Counselor of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Jennifer C. Selber, she's a public official. They mention every name in the book, but then they're not mentioning this lady. This lady is supposed to be the one in charge to secure the rights of Bryan Kohberger and make sure that whatever Idaho have against him is solid enough to have the state of Pennsylvania getting involved. Even the governor have to be involved. How can you have an extradition process without the general counsel and without the governor of Pennsylvania? Just explain that real quick, because if you don't follow the proper procedure to handle everything by the book of law and make an extradition be 100% of 100%, so no mistakes, because again, if you want justice for the victims and you want justice for the suspect, you're going to follow proper steps to make sure that an extradition to some other state from one of your residents, I believe that the rights of the resident of Pennsylvania at this moment, Bryan Kohberger, should be protected constitutionally, because the right steps and the proper steps for an extradition, it don't matter if they alleged suspect want to skip that process. It's still a process, it's still protocol to follow within the book of law, with the general counsel, with the governor of Pennsylvania. It needs to be followed for a legal extradition.